Good morning. This is Deborah Arca from the Pathos Book Club. And this month we are featuring The Christian World of the Hobbit by Devin Brown. And we have Devin Brown here with us this morning. Devin is a professor, an English professor at Asbury University in Kentucky. And he is also a renowned Tolkien scholar. And he has written this wonderful little book for all of you Hobbit fans and Lord of the Ring fans. And he is here this morning with us to answer a few questions. Good morning, Devin.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here. Tell us a little bit about your book, why you have had such a fascination with Tolkien's work, and what you're hoping to do in this book.
Well, there's been a number of books written about Tolkien and his fiction, more about the Lord of the Rings than about the Hobbit, but a good number. But very few have focused on his faith. And so my book, The Christian World of the Hobbit, attempts to answer this one question. How did Tolkien's faith, and he was a very devout Christian, matter of fact, he was very instrumental in bringing C.S. Lewis, his best friend at Oxford, to the Lord. Without Tolkien, there might not have been Chronicles of Narnia or Mere Christianity or Screwtape Letters. Anyway, he was a very devout Christian, and my book tries to answer the question, what impact did his faith have on his fiction?
Yeah, and you make it pretty clear right at the beginning that Tolkien's works were not allegories, that he was not using allegory in his stories. So, for instance, Gandalf does not represent God or Jesus, or there's not somebody that represents Satan. Say a little bit more about that. I think that's a really important learning for us.
That he's not writing that kind of fiction. This was sort of after World War II. Everyone thought that Saruman was Stalin, or maybe Hitler was Stalin, and the Ring, which we find here in The Hobbit as well as in The Lord of the Rings, was that the atomic bomb. And then, of course, faith people went off in the other direction. Does that ring with its O symbol symbolize original sin? And he said, no, none of those things. He said, I'm not writing that kind of fiction where one thing equals another. They're what they are. Now, of course, he said they have applicability. They're not allegory, but they have applicability. And that's what by that he just meant that my villains, well, they'll look like villains always look. People who are self-centered, who don't think of others, who want what they want and don't care about right or wrong. So yes, we'll find all sorts of Christian truths in his fiction, but this isn't the kind of work where one thing equals another. So Gollum isn't the devil, or Judas Iscariot, Smaug isn't Satan, but of course they are like villains that we meet in our world as well.
Yeah, and in spite of that, or despite that, it's a very Christian book. And so tell us a little bit about how the Christian themes do appear in this book.
Yeah, one of the things I do in my book is I talk about Tolkien's contemporaries, people like Sartre and Camus, who are writing existentialist fiction. And even though the word existentialist doesn't appear in their books, man, it's an existentialist worldview. There's no purpose, there's no meaning, there's no right or wrong, there's no God to reward them because there is no God. Well, Tolkien's fiction is the exact opposite. He creates a world full of purpose and meaning. Gandalf, from the very start, tells Bilbo that this trip will be very good for you. And by good, he doesn't mean he's going to come home with 1/14th share of the dragon sword. He comes home with a very different kind of treasure. There's purpose, there's providence, there's been somebody watching over him from the start. Gandalf's very last words, and when you get to the end of the Hobbit, don't miss him. He says, now you don't suppose, do you, that all your escapes were managed by mere luck? And that's very important. At the end, Bilbo comes to see, no, there was an invisible hand watching over him. And, of course, we learn that, too.
What's your personal favorite memory of reading The Hobbit? How did you come to The Hobbit in your life?
Well, I know readers all over the world have found Tolkien in different ways. Some people have old battered copies that were passed down through the generations. Other people discovered him in college. Other people had brothers or sisters that read him. Well, no one in my family knew who Tolkien was, and we were getting ready to go on a camping trip when I was in middle school, and not being a big fan of camping, I went to the library and checked out the 4 fattest books I could find on the shelf. So there I am sitting at a picnic table at a state park in Indiana, and I started reading The Hobbit, and for about 30 pages, I know this will sound ridiculous, but about 30 pages, I thought it was really true. It was a story that had really happened. You know how Tolkien adopts this narrative stance that he's just reporting on Bilbo's Red Book. And for about 30 pages, I thought there really were little creatures called hobbits that had somehow lived in our world with us a long time ago. And after a while, I figured out, yeah, okay, this is just a story. But for those first 30 pages, it was pretty nice.
I know, wishful thinking. Don't we all wish there were some little hobbits that we could hang out with? Well, thank you so much, Devin Brown, for writing this book, and we're so happy to be featuring it in the book club this month of November. Check out the book club for more with Devin Brown, more interviews, lots of bloggers going to be talking about the book, and also I think we have an excerpt for you. So thanks, Devin. Have a great day, and we'll see you all at the book club.
Thank you very much. I hope people enjoy my book.